The broadcast is now starting. All
Good
attendees are
evening,
in
everyone,
listen-only mode.
Match Campers. I need someone to give me a high sign to tell me that you can hear me and you can see our screen before we get started. Just raise your hand or, oh, I see some hands going up. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. I see Christy and Linda. There's lots of people on tonight. And Melinda, I see all kinds of people. So thank you for that. So it sounds like it is working and we're going to get started because I know here it is 9 o'clock. So by the time I finish Bash Camp, it's almost 10. And believe me, I am ready for my day to come to an end. But it's so awesome to be able to spend this time with you guys. So let's get started. I appreciate those of you that jump on time. So we are going to go ahead and finish up or get started with week 5. Hard to believe that we are so far into this. And remember, and I'll remind you again, that next week we do not have our webinar because we have Valentine's Day to celebrate. How awesome is that? So we will finish up week 6 on the 21st. So make sure you have that marked in your calendars, okay? So let's get started. We have our usual, I tell you, sometimes this thing, to get this screen to move. There we go. Our typical mantra of I'm a Bash Camper. I am, I can, I will, I do. Nice to see you guys posting your finishing assignment messages and all of that on the Facebook page. Believe me, I do go through there and look at them, even if I don't comment on all of them. So, of course, you know with Blend Bash, our goal is you to really help you be better at the Blend Bash process and really help your business move forward in a way that you want it to. So we're glad you're here with us tonight, and hopefully you join because you want more out of your business, and certainly you have the desire to party, and we will continue to, I hope, provide you with some good information and challenge you a little bit and help you along the way. And our ultimate goal is for you to be able to achieve your goals, whatever they may be. So week 4, just as a recap, it was the $1,000 Blend Bash Party Quiz. So hopefully you guys have completed that. And then if you do settle that $1,000 Blend Bash Party by the end of February, you will earn 100 pink dollars. So very cool. And it does need to be a minimum of 6 customers. You are not to be the host in this case. Of course, we want you to share the pictures with the hashtag PZBlendBash. And we would like you to post that you completed it in the group. So you guys have the surveys to complete. That's the way we know you have some of these assignments done. It is tough for us to go through and pull all of the Blend Bash parties that were done just for Bash campers. So you need to complete those things so we know that obviously that you are due the 100 peak dollars. Okay, so we are going to be doing Jeopardy Live, whether you guys have heard about that or not, but it's just kind of a fun game show, and it's on one of our off nights. But it is going to actually be hosted live on our PZ Bash Camp number 4 Facebook page. So it's going to be scheduled for Monday, the 18th, so it's kind of on our last week, of course. And it's at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, so it's an hour earlier than this normal call this normal webinar that we do. We will be picking 5 team captains to lead the teams. So what's going to happen is that the team captains will be designated and announced, and then we will just assign each of you to a team captain. You guys get on the live on the PZ Bash Camp Facebook page. That's where we're going to actually do the Jeopardy challenge. And you'll be able to see but you'll hear the 5 leaders and actually go through the Jeopardy game. And then whatever team wins at the end of that, it only takes about maybe 25 minutes, something like that. That team will all earn some pink dollars. So we're going to announce the team captains next week, even though we are not going to have a webinar next Thursday. I'll send out my normal Wednesday reminder message that says, don't forget, we're not meeting tomorrow night. And I'm going to put the 5 team captains in there. And it actually is going to be selected from the top in party count from January. So we're running those stats now, and we will make the announcement of who those team captains are going to be. So moving on from there, in order to graduate, we cover this every time, but this is just a reiteration. You've got to complete 7 of the 10 assignments. we are going to post a completed assignment list after week 6. So on Friday, when you normally get your recap message, you will we'll have the assignment list there of where you are in terms of the assignments. It'll show your percentage and which assignments you've done. And then you will have 2 weeks, which really takes you until March 7th to complete all of the assignments. And of course, you've got next week where we don't have Bash Camp, so you can catch up a little bit if there's any that you know that you have not done. But we won't actually post the completed assignment list until after week 6, and then you've got that 2 weeks to catch up, and then of course we'll post it again. So once you do complete the assignments and we do that final report around after March 7th, you'll be added to the Bash Camp Master Graduation list that we actually posted today under Resources and then Bash Camp Grad List. So we'll add a 4th column for Bash Camp number 4 and put those of you on there that have completed the graduation requirement. And then any pink dollars that you've earned through Bash Camp are all posted at the end when Bash Camp finishes. So I've seen some posts where people are asking when do I get my pink dollars? It always happens after Bash Camp is done. So, and remember that if you want to be recognized as a Pink Sapphire at Reunion 2019 or in general, because if you don't attend Reunion, you're still a Pink Sapphire. It doesn't mean you lose that. But you need, of course, the 15,000 SV in our reunion year and also that graduation from Bash Camp in order to qualify. So lots of great rewards for being a Pink Sapphire. So I hope that you're all working towards that. And you've got 5 months ahead of you to still make that 15,000 happen. So, okay, so we have gone through establishing goals and building trust, how to build relationships with contacts, sharing compelling reason to book a Blend Bash, the keys to $1,000 party, which we discussed last week. And then tonight is going to be all about making the most of a party. And then next week, we talk about how to build customer loyalty. So that's a great one as well. So we go through our sales process. We're getting close to the end there, delivering on your promise, of course. And then we're going to be talking a little bit about that customer loyalty, which does include some follow-up next week. So it's kind of bringing everything to a close. So making the most of your party, we'll get started. All right. So Blend Bash, of course, is a great way to boost new business. Book business with past hosts, of course, that have never done a party like a Blend Bash, and certainly a way for you to simplify your business by just saving some time and effort. So I was actually at a Pink Sapphire tour this past Monday, and one of the consultants told me that when she did the parties before Blend Bash, she did kind of like a jar bar kind of thing. It would take her 1 hour to set up at a party. So I want to tell you, we also, when we do the Pink Sapphire tours, we actually have a little bit of a competition about how quickly you can set up the Blend Bash and get the party going. And everybody's doing it in a 2 to 3 minute time frame. So if there's nothing else the Blend Bash is going to do, it's going to make you more money on an hourly basis because the setup is so incredible. So I am personally a big party fan because I just believe parties are duplicatable, they're fun, they're easy, they showcase the best part of the business, which really is building relationships with customers and hosts and then future team members that come from those parties. So when I was in the business, I spent 21 years there. I was an absolute party person, and I did do events every once in a while, but parties were really where I developed my business and developed my team. So parties just create opportunities to book additional business, of course, because your goal is always to book 2 parties at every party that you do. Certainly allows you to build your customer base a little at a time. What's key about that is that when you're doing an event and you might get 50 or 60 names from people, it is really hard to do a follow-up with that many people. You do a party where you've got a good, strong group of 10 people that you've connected with and built a relationship with, doing follow-up with that 10 over that next week or 2 weeks is really, really easy. So certainly it allows you to stay on top of follow-up and really provide some good customer service. And we talked again about that a little bit at that Pink Sapphire tour and just how some of the consultants are really kind of making customer service their big thing this year and have for this last 6 months, and what a difference they're seeing in terms of their reorders and just things that are happening in general in the business. So the party also lends itself to finding people interested in learning a course about ways to add additional income with a simple business model that really works for people. So Blend Bash is intended to be a mingle and shop kind of party, as you guys know, but it can be challenging for you to create an opportunity to upsell and to book and to offer that business without a plan. So we really hope to be able to share some tips tonight that may help you to maximize your results, with the ultimate goal, of course, being that $1,000 party. But I also want you to think, or to consider, just don't ever feel inadequate or that you failed if your parties are not hitting $1,000 in sales. Of course, we talk about that. That's the goal. That's what we're working towards. But if it doesn't hit 1,000, it does not mean it's a failure by any means. So it's certainly not going to happen every time, but the whole goal is to work to increase your average. So if you're currently averaging, let's say, $450 a party, and you can increase that average with some of the things that we have shared in Bash Camp so far and will share tonight, that is a huge win if you can increase that average to even $600. That represents a 33% increase in sales and commissions. And that's something that you obviously should celebrate. So if you're striving for that $1,000 mark, it's just going to help you to stretch yourself to do things that you might not normally do. And sometimes it's just a process to kind of fine tune your party. So give it time and be willing to try some new things, some things that we may have shared that you might not be doing at this point, and then really keep track of your numbers so that you know if the changes that you're making are actually increasing your averages or not. So with the Bash Box edition, of course, which came out at Reunion last year, the potential of really increasing your guest count just provides you with a greater foundation for booking parties and building a team. When you're in front of 10 people instead of 4 or 5, there is a big difference in terms of what you can accomplish. So when you book 2 parties at every party that you do, you will always be in business. An additional guest at a party just lends itself to more opportunities for those bookings, of course, building up your customer base that we talked about, and no question finding prospects to join your team. So your goal is to be in front of 10 every time, and the Bash Box really helps you to do that. Plus, as your customer base expands, when opportunities like one of our great sales that we run, you really do have a greater chance to generate business and keep your name in front of customers. So they begin to think of you when they need to reorder, if they need to buy gifts, they decide to host, or if they just need a way to earn some extra income. And the more you build that base, the better opportunity you're going to have for some of that additional ancillary business that happens when we promote, or when we talk about or promote a sale or promote even a join special. And again, I'm just talking about this Pink Sapphire tour I did the other night because it's so fresh in my mind. You know, some of the people that were more seasoned said it took them a couple of years before they really started to feel like their, momentum was gaining, and they were really starting to get that repeat business constantly. But, you have to work through that first year or two to get to that point. So I just see too many people give up too quickly. And really the payoff comes in time, just sticking in the game, plain and simple. All right, let's see. Switch our slide here. Sorry, guys, that little thing came up. All right, so we talked about host coaching last week, but I wanted to touch on a few things just to reiterate the importance of what goes on during that pre-party stage. So that's before the party actually begins. So when you're comfortable and confident about working with your host to pre-sell those 10 Bash boxes, 2 things happen. First, you help your host overcome their greatest fear, which is no one showing up. And selling 10 Bash boxes will pretty much ensure that they're going to have 10 guests. So since guests, of course, have spent money to be part of that blending experience by buying that Bash box, the likelihood of them backing out is greatly reduced. So your host can now breathe and not worry about the party count falling apart hours before the party. The second thing is, because of the Blend Bash, you're really starting the party with 260 in sales when you pre-sell those 10 Bash boxes. And certainly that's a win on both sides. The risk of parties canceling could become really a thing of the past for you. And plus, as we mentioned at the bottom there, 20% of the guests who pre-purchased the Bash box are also buying the simmer pot. So that is pretty amazing when you think about it. So your sales in that beginning at 260 could even be higher. So the formula for the $1,000 party is 10 plus 3 plus 3. So that means 10 guests at the party, 3 party orders, pre-party orders, and 3 post-party orders. So work with your host to really get them comfortable with contacting those that didn't attend. And your host planning guide talks specifically about that 10 plus 3 plus 3. So things like sharing what you know to be that ideal order, which is 3 jars, a simmering light, and an accent shade. Encourage your host to suggest ideas to any guest that can attend and suggest that they ask their guests how they are currently fragrancing their home. So give them some of the word choices when they're making those follow-up calls or connecting with friends that didn't show up, so they can obviously do the 10 plus 3 plus 3. So it might be some before the party that basically say, I just can't make that date. So encourage them to reach out to them and ask them how they're fragrancing their home and if they'd like to try a sample. And then obviously afterwards, the same thing. Some of those people that you just missed, it didn't come for whatever reason, to connect with them, and maybe even have the host pick out a few favorites as you create their wish list that they can share. So when they talk to that guest that didn't attend, whether it's before or after the party, I was so excited about, whatever those product ideals are, and actually have them share. Or once the party is over, everybody fell in love with whatever it is, and they can kind of just basically plant some seeds for some of those things that people really ordered at the party itself. And then, of course, offer to send samples to those guests before the party or even after, just to encourage those pre-party orders. So if I was in your shoes, I'd want to do the samples beforehand as much as possible, because I like to close my parties within a day or two if I could. Okay, so never forget, of course, that your host has more clout with her group of friends than you do. So challenge your host to book a party either from the group that's attending or someone that isn't able to attend. So with your intention and your need to book 2 parties at every party that you do, that you, of course, should be sharing with your host. When your host books one before you ever arrive, which can happen very easily, half of your booking work is done, and all you need to do is find one more. It seems pretty simple. So a bingo game or something similar can sometimes help with those hosts that like a challenge or just love extra free stuff. Maybe you'll offer a jar of sprinkles if, in fact, they do book a party before you get there. The bingo has all kinds of different ideas on there, but just use it to support your host in increasing the sales, of course, the bookings, and then if there's any sponsoring opportunities with people that she knows. So just consider offering even a referral bonus when they refer someone that joins your team. I had a regular referral program that I would let my host know about. So I gave basically a credit for product when they referred someone to me that actually did join. So your host can be great lead-ins to people in their life that you just don't know. Oops, sorry about that. That went fast. Didn't mean to do that. Okay, so with the help of Krista Clay and Lori Legrone, they're the ones that actually introduced this to me months ago. There is a bingo challenge that's been uploaded to the ZN app and to ZebraNet for your use. It's been there for a long time, but it's in both JPEG and PDF version, so you can either post it or you can print it to include in your host packets. And there is a white background version if you want to save some ink, because this pink one is pretty ink heavy, but it's just another one of those tools that you can use to kind of get your host engaged and actually working for you, because that can really make a huge difference when she is actively working with her friends to maybe fill in some of these blanks and get some of these things to happen for you. All right. So now the party. So as fun as blend bashes are just proving to be, and I've not done one in a home like you guys do, because obviously I'm not actively doing parties, but I've been doing them at the Pink Sapphire tours, and it's with consultants, so it's fun. It's really great, but it is such a great party, I have to tell you. So you still need that opportunity, though, to upsell, to book, and to find prospects when you're doing it. And it's a little more challenging when you've got this interactive experience going on. So if you don't think about it beforehand, the blending is going to end and you're going to lose that chance, because people will break apart if you don't really know what you're doing, and they're all going to be heading out the door, whatever, with their, $26 bash box purchase that they made and nothing more. So we just really, of course, promote this as a mingle and shop kind of party, but it's still important to fit that time in for helping you and your host really have a successful party with results in all 3 key areas. So sales, of course, the bookings that you want, the 2 bookings, and then, of course, prospecting for someone that might be interested in joining your team. So do not forget about the new Blend Bash Prep and Party cards. And I say new, but they've been in the back office since reunion. And every Pink Sapphire tour that I have done in the last, month or so, I can tell you almost every single consultant had no idea that these cards existed. We use them at the Pink Sapphire Tour, basically cards 4 and 5, because that's really the presentation part of it. So I just want to encourage you to go in the back office and actually print these cards off. They're under the Blend Bash tab in ZebraNet, and you can print them off and laminate them and then hole punch them and put a silver ring around them so you can just flip through them so they stay together. And it literally walks you through the actual, what I want to say, timeline, I guess, of the Blend Bash itself. Some resources that you can, don't forget to take to the party, everything from pens and a calculator to host packets. It gives you some setup tips. It then obviously has the party. Let's get the party started. You can see that on page 4, and then 5 continues with that. So it's really a way for you to open the party and get some of the information out there that we talked about to make the party successful. And then it's got the blending time, what you can do during that blending time, and then how you actually close out or wrap it up at the end, and then how you close out with your guests. So it is a great resource for you. And if you're not using it, I want to encourage you to do that. Okay. Okay. So your opening, of course, sets the stage for the party, and it can be short and sweet, but you want to make sure you get your message out before that blending begins. So set the stage for how the evening is going to go. Get your story in, which we talk about is why you joined, why you stay, and what's changing your life as a result. Very simple. Share a little bit about your products, and that is on those prep and party cards, and the company, of course, that you want them to know. And be sure to share that guests can learn about hosting their own party or how they can add extra income to their household budget with a Pink Zebra business. And there are some tips and some word choices on those cards that may help you to just share that. So it's just one of those things that you have to make those guests aware of booking opportunities and that a chance to start a business does exist, because they're not going to automatically figure that out. So let them know that you're going to be asking them about those things when you sit down with them to place their orders. And again, those prep and party cards will help with this because they do help you with that one-on-one close with your guests. So as the blending begins, be sure to let them know about the other Blend Bash themes, of course. The new Blend Bashes now have great new signage with the themes on it. It doesn't just say Blend Bash anymore. And they do have an actual stand on the back of it so they can stand up on their own, which is awesome. But you may just print out somewhere or use your booking guide that actually shows images and all of the fragrances that are included with each of the new themes. So I would highly recommend that you print that off. It's a pretty ink heavy thing, but you can take it to a print place and have that printed one. You only need one copy of it. I would put it into plastic sleeves or laminate it so you can have it at your parties in a little binder and pass it around. Let people see it. It's pretty awesome. So as the people are blending, just ask the group who's going to host the next Blend Bash. You can say it as a group. Okay, guys, it's fun. Like, who's going to host the next one? You will get people that will respond. And if no one does, I might say to somebody, oh my gosh, Teresa, wouldn't you love to do one of these parties? I mean, you're doing that during the time of them actually blending to make that kind of fun and very casual. So sometimes a group question like that, when you throw that out there, just gets people talking and shouting out that they would like to be next. You've got six more themes to experience in addition to one that you guys are having, that you're using tonight. So ask the group, or again, single out a single person if they could really see themselves, even from a business standpoint, sharing these products as a business. I mean, I would be saying, you guys see how quick this was for me to set up? I might even wait till the guests got there to do the setup, quite honestly, because it literally can be done in 2 minutes. How fun is a business like this that I can set this thing up in 2 minutes? I just got to Sherry's house 10 minutes ago, and we're going to have some fun tonight, no question. So just use the mingling time when they're blending to drop seeds and really share some product ideas as well. And maybe just share some of these tips on the screen to help them with their blending experience, like making sure that they mark their blending bags with their initials, make sure they write down their recipes so they can order them again if they love them. And then you might also consider providing labels with your personal contact information on them so that on those bags, they've got your information. So All right. And then, of course, when they are shopping and they actually are filling out their guest order form, connecting with those guests is really happening during and immediately after they finish blending. So, and you want to make sure that you're asking every single guest when they want to book their own blend bash and if they'd be interested in learning more about starting their business. So you just get in the habit of doing that every single time. It just becomes easier and easier. So the one-on-one time, of course, is key, and it's your chance to really capitalize on those seeds that you've planted and really to get to know your guest a little bit better. So don't be shy about this part. Most people don't close well. I mean, most consultants I'm talking about don't close well, and it's one of those learned skills that you can get good at if you keep practicing. And if you feel that you've got that figured out and it's working for you, I would encourage you to share what you're doing with others on our Bash Camp Facebook page, because they certainly can learn from some of you that have been in the business longer and know how to really close a guest out. So remember, of course, to suggest a bundle or be sure that they've included a warmer or an accent shade. Check over their items that they've placed or that they've ordered, and that they know, of course, at that $49.99 plus level in the US that there is free shipping. So if you're using a customer care card, I don't know if you do or not, but again, that's something that's available in resources. You have your guests fill it out. I think it's under Party and Host Tools. Have your guests fill it out as you start reviewing their order. So you've got their order form in front of you, hand them that customer care card and ask them to fill it out. I have had people so many times check something that they're interested in learning about and never had said anything directly to me. So if I see that on the card while they're still with me, I'm going to ask something simple like, I see that you've checked you'd like to learn about earning some free trips. What would you like to know? So if it's afterwards where I don't see the card until they leave, then of course I'm going to do what I call a Big Mac call the next day, which is a morning after call, and say, I read your customer care card last night and I noticed you checked one of the boxes. Do you have a minute? We can discuss it. So it's just another way of making connection very easily. Okay, so set up, of course, in an area close to everyone that's, fairly close to where the blending is going on and where the guests are kind of hanging out, to really have those individual conversations as you close out each guest. So as I mentioned earlier, this is really your chance to build a stronger relationship with that guest and find out more about them. So be intentional with your questions and make it conversational, because it should be. It's really easy for you and it's easy for them. So when you look at the questions on the slide, ask questions to learn more, like, did you have fun tonight? What did you like most? What are you most excited about getting from the party? You may go on to ask, like, what are your big fragrance challenges? How are you, fragrancing your home right now? Tell me a little bit about, maybe some gift giving needs that you might have coming up. I mean, there's so many different questions that you can ask. I used to actually keep an index card just to the right of me. I would normally be sitting at a table, not on a couch like they're showing here in this image. But then I would just have some of those questions written down on the index card that I could just kind of refer to if I felt like my brain was in freeze mode. So certainly any responses that they give you on some of these questions are going to really help you transition to the next question. And that's what it's all about, because it is really getting to the business building questions that you're not going to do right away, but they're going to help you in that conversation to get you to that point. So remember that questions gain information and they help steer your conversation to business building opportunities. So things like, do you work outside the home? Now, I'm telling you, that was one of my probably most successful questions I used to use, because when I asked, do you work outside the home, as they sat down to give me their order and I started tallying it, if they said, yes, what do you do? Do you love what you do? How many hours a week do you work? Do you ever find like you just need a break from that? I mean, there's so many things I can ask from there. If they say, I work part-time, how many hours do you work? Same kind of thing. Where do you work? Do you like it? Have you ever thought about adding something alongside that? If they say, no, I just stay home. Oh my gosh. I mean, I left my full-time job how many years ago when my kids were 1.5 and 5, and I just found like I needed something to kind of keep myself sane and be talking to adults. So I joined a business like this. This is something you would ever consider. There's so many different ways you can go with that one question, do you work outside the home? Of course, I've got some other examples here. Is there anything about this business that intrigues you? I mean, that's always a great one. How would you feel about hosting your own blend bash? Of course, we want that question out there. Would you like to be added to my VIP Facebook page? I mean, if you're getting, really no response on the others, at least get them to your VIP Facebook page, because that's really where you're going to be doing some very specific, targeted, focused messages, from recipes to ideas to decorating tips with your products. It's not going to be all salesy all the time, but this is really where you're going to target those customers with future promotions and sales, and certainly special events and open houses. And I would recommend that you do something at your home every single month, because when you meet people, even out at Target or wherever, if you've got something to invite someone to really experience Pink Zebra firsthand, it is a great way for you to just build a base and get people seeing your product without always feeling like you've got to send out samples. I think it's more impressive when someone walks in your home and smells what your home smells like than it is just getting a sample in the mail. As effective as samples are, I'm not suggesting you don't do those at all, but when they're in your home and can really experience this product, it's amazing. I know when I sit down on my couch, and I love the energizing ginger. That's what I spray my couch with, because I have 3 dogs. So if I don't use it, my couch smells like dogs. It makes me happy every time I sit down, because I get that fresh scent every single time, and my guests and friends would do the same thing. Okay, so what I would like to encourage you is, after all is done and the party is settled, to evaluate your results. So be asking yourself, did you book 2 parties? So every time you finish a party or a blend bash, you are going to ask, did I get 2? Did you find someone interested in learning about the business, whether it was the host or a guest? Did you actually offer the host the chance to join your team? And what was the total party sales, and did it exceed your average? So if you have not figured out your average up to this point in week 5 of Bash Camp, you need to do that. And you need to really track to see if you are successfully increasing it. And really what it takes is you doing things a little bit differently than you might have been doing before, whether you take some of the ideas from here or others that you may have learned and really implement them and start to track to see if your averages are changing. So evaluate your results and really seek ways to improve those results by making adjustments to your strategy as you go. So it's better that you do this kind of thing after every single party, so that you can adjust, you can tweak, you can think, okay, that worked, that didn't. Maybe I need to do this differently. I mean, it really can change your results if you're really paying attention to what's going on. Okay, so I just want to wish you good luck with that, because I think the Blend Bash, of course, can be a very key component of your business if you're willing to just get in there and try it. Some of you may have already done blend bashes before, but we want you to have a good party experience with the blend bash and get the full results that you deserve. So we're going to bring it to a close. It is now week 5. So your assignment is, at your next party, whenever that may be, and hopefully you've got one on your calendar soon, you are to secure 2 bookings and 1 sponsoring lead. So when you have this party, maybe you've already talked to your host, maybe it's, you've just started coaching with her, whatever it may be, her or him. I want you to say that you've been challenged with this bash camp that you've been a part with to actually get 2 bookings at that party and to come up with a sponsoring lead, and you need her help. So jump in and really make this a very intentional and focused effort on your part to secure 2 bookings and 1 sponsoring lead at the next party that you do. And your assignment survey will check off whether you did it or not. It doesn't matter if you don't get the result. It's the point of actually doing the activity to make it happen. So when you answer the question, it's going to ask you if you got the bookings, but you're not penalized for not. So I just want you to know that. And then, of course, we've got week 5 quiz to complete, and that will be the finish of your assignments for this week. So thank you for being on this evening. I think we got done a little quicker than we normally do. Yeah, it's like 9:33 here. Isn't that awesome? And I just want to say I'm sorry to some of you that have some freezing rain and snow today, because it was 4 degrees here today. I was sitting out on my front porch with my husband before this call and enjoying the heck out of this beautiful weather. Although this weekend, that's going to change considerably, but we had a little bit of a flash of kind of summer spring weather here this week. So don't forget to join us for Jeopardy on Monday the 18th at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. And we have no training next week, of course, the 14th. So we'll give you a chance to catch up on some of the assignments that maybe you might be behind on. And then, of course, we will see you, or you will hear me, I guess, on week 6 on the 21st of February. Now, we do have something exciting that's going to be happening this next week with a booking blitz. So I want to encourage any of you that are part of Bash Camp to participate to the fullest in that. And I think you're going to love some of the things that are going to be happening for March. March is going to be a really awesome month in Pink Zebra World with our March Madness promotions. So with that, I'm going to say good night. Thank you all for being with me, and I hope that you got some helpful hints tonight. I'm actually going to jump on real quick before we actually hang up and see if there's any questions. Don't know if anybody typed in here or not, but let me check. These questions are so incredibly hard to see because it's this little tiny screen. Let me see if I can. I say hello. Oh, hello from the frozen North Illinois. Yes. Hi, good evening. I can see and hear you. Awesome. Is there supposed to be sound? I hope we had sound. Oh my gosh, it's currently at 30, down from 60 today. So they're getting colder. Do we need to wait to take quiz till after our party? No, you do not. You can absolutely do that whenever. And hi, C from Beth Hanner. Thank you. All right, that brings us to a close, guys. Thank you and good night. Bye.